Hi everyone, Sailor Moon, Serena here, Sailor Venus, Sailor Hellish World, Mina here, and today we're going to talk about why Sailor Moon is worth a lot, or is worthful, or worthable. First off, no need which shop you go to buy Sailor Moon things, or what website you go on, you're going to know that you can never really get any Sailor Moon thing really cheap. Now, a lot of folks were going to guilt it on the sales toll that was put on the Gavra sales toll that other lands had to yield if they wanted things to be shipped from them to the 4-1 Reichs. And at first, you would be right about that. But even before the Gavra sales toll thing became a thing, Sailor Moon things were already worth a lot. They were worthful, I guess? I don't know. So, first off, no need which website you go on. If you're going to buy the new things or the old things, none of them are going to be cheap. You know? And a lot of folks out there, if they have a lot of gold, then there isn't going to be any answer for if you got a lot of gold or you don't have a lot, because Sailor Moon things are going to be worth a lot. Now, I guess the cheapest you can get is something being 20, or lesser than that, if you're lucky. Now, the older Sailor Moon things are going to be worth as much, maybe even more, than the newer things, too. And some folks would think that the newer things would be worth a lot more than the older things, but it's about the same. So, when it comes to being a Sailor Moon doll gatherer, no need what things you are gathering, is going to be worth a lot. Now, when it comes to the older Sailor Moon things, and they don't make so much of it anymore, then if you're going on websites like, eBay or Etsy or Overstock or Deal Dash or even Angie's List or Craigslist or whatever, yeah, they're going to be worth a lot. And even the newer things are going to be worth way a lot more than even the older things. Now, a lot of folks out there know going through that would be true, and a lot of folks will guilt it on the Gavra sales toll. Like I said, Sailor Moon things were already worthful a lot before that. So you can't guilt that for being the answer, because Sailor Moon things were already worth a lot even before the Gavra sales toll became a thing. Now, first off, you might wonder, are these folks crazy? I mean, you go on Euro or UA, and you see these Sailor Moon doll gatherers who buy every Sailor Moon thing ever made, the old things, the new things, and you're thinking they gotta be crazy because the fees and the worths are too much, And yeah, they never ever tell you that, but they know it, and they gotta be crazy. And you're thinking, well, some of them are business helpers and business friends, so they're getting a lot of gold coming in to make up for the gold going out. Well, even if that's true, it's still crazy that they would buy all these Sailor Moon things that are worth a lot. And that's mostly the grounds to why we don't have every single thing ever made, because we can't afford every single Sailor Moon thing that was, ever made. Which might, So what do you think about this whole thing? What do I think, Sailor Moon? I think you're right. That old Sailor Moon things and new Sailor Moon things are always going to be worth a lot. and that the newer things are going to be worth way a lot more than the older things. No need which website you go to, you know. No need which shop you go to. The cheapest you could ever get something, if you're lucky, would be somewhere in the $20. And that's mostly seen as cheap when it comes to Sailor Moon things or dolls or whatever. So, yeah, and I do think it's crazy that a lot of Sailor Moon doll gatherers out there, that have gold to yield, that some of them or a lot of them are UA business friends or business helpers, but even still, you shouldn't be going around blowing your gold on things, even if you couldn't afford it or not. And I do think it's crazy that they would do that. Now, getting back to why it's worth a lot, Sailor Moon things were the new Sailor Moon things were always worth a lot more than the older things. But I take that back, because even the older things are worth a whole lot on eBay and Etsy. Alright? And even the newer Sailor Moon things were worth a lot before that. And if you think Sailor Moon things were worth a lot before, well, then you most likely know they're going to be worth a way lot more when it comes to the Gather sales tool. But I don't really think you can guilt that on the worth, because Sailor Moon things, old or new, were worth a whole lot more before the Gather sales tool even became a thing. So I don't know how much you can guilt on that. The newer Sailor Moon things being made by Bandai and sundry other businesses that I do not know the names of, yeah, they're going to be worth a whole lot more because they're new. And even the older Sailor Moon things are going to be worth a whole lot more because they're not being made anymore. And they're hard to get. Now, if someone wants to come on this film and say that we didn't do our learning, and, well, we're not going to go and look on every single website on the interwebs to tell you what the worths are, the fees are. A lot you should know. Off the top of your head, that you should know it's going to be worth a lot. No need which website did you buy it from. Well, yeah, you're right, Sailor Venus. You're right, Sailor V. You're right, Sailor Hellas World. At the end of the day, I just think some of these folks are crazy to even be buying the newer things because they're worth a lot. And it isn't like these folks buy one thing. Oh no, they buy sundry things. If it's dolls, well, they buy all the dolls. No need if they happen to be the big ones or the small ones, or the ragdoll ones or whatever. That they like to buy everything. And then they go and show it off, and they don't play with it. And I think they're crazy for doing that. Well, not for not showing it off or playing with it. No, I think for buying all those things, knowing that they're worth a lot. And being a business friend or a business helper on UA is not the forgiveness to do that kind of shit. Because if I had that kind of gal coming in, I still wouldn't do it. Alright? So, anyway, why are Sailor Moon things worth a lot? Can you guilt it on the Gather sales tool? Because things were worth a lot, and Sailor Moon things were worth a lot even before the Gather sales tool. So I don't think you can guilt it on that, because they were worth a lot even before that. Alright, give this film a like, share and playlist it, and I'll see you later. Goodbye. Farewell.